Hello everyone, welcome you all. In this class, we are going to see class 11th Ncert, that is Indian Constitution at Work related to the Indian polity. So here now we are going to see the part 1. So in the next class we will deal with the part 2. So here the chapter 1 is why and how. Let us see the introduction of this Indian Constitution at work. See, before seeing that, what is political science? That is very important. One has to know that. The scientific study of politics and government. That is the simple word. See, the politics was primarily concerned with the study of ethics. And also note that it focused on the study of political ideas, political institutions, and processes within the state and relation between the states. So, but in the last 2 centuries, witnessed the study of politics concentrating on the conflict between liberty and equality. So, let us see the learning objectives of this chapter. What a constitution means, what a constitution does to the society, how constitution governs the allocation of powers in society, and what was the way in which the constitution of India was made. Let us see. After completing this session, one has to understand what a constitution means. Let us see what a constitution does to the society, how constitution governs the allocations of powers in the society. Before that, let us see why do we need a constitution, and also what is constitution, what are the functions, and what role does it perform for the society, and how does a constitution related to the our daily life existence. So one has to know those things. See, the constitution allows a coordination and assurance. See here, the lot of people here sitting together and talking, right? So here, so we take it them as a group. Okay, so that is very important. Lot of people's just sitting here and talking. Okay, so imagine yourself, you to be the one of the members. Okay, in that group. See, and also the members of these groups are diverse in various ways. See, one of the ways are they are differs by the religion, and then some are Hindu, some are Muslims, some are Christians, and some perhaps profess no religion at all. So kindly note these points, and also they are differs by many ways, many aspects, that is profession, and then abilities and their hobbies, and different tastes in everything from films to the books. See here, in among this group, some are old, some are young. Imagine that you are also present in that group and also likely to have the dispute over various aspects of the life. See, one has to know that the dispute related to how much property should one be owned. Okay, should it compulsory that every children to send to the school, or should the parent to decide? So these are the things, the conflicts arises between, okay, among the groups. And also note that for all their diversity, these groups has to live together. Why? Since they are dependent upon each other in various ways, and also this requires some kind of cooperations of each other. So these are all very important things. See, one has to note that, see, what would happen in the absence of some basic rules. So that is very important. See, every individual would be insecure simply because they would not know what members of this group could do to each other, what could claims right over what. So these are the things. And also note that the rules must not only be known, and also they must also be enforceable. Then only the citizens have no assurance that other will follow the rule. And also note that it will envelope, that is themselves, as no reasons to follow these rules. And also note that these rules are legally enforceable, gives an assurance to everybody so that others will follow this. For if they do not so, they will be punished. So such that, so here it talks about the first two functions of the constitution, which means the function of the constitution is to provide the set of basic rules that allows for a minimum coordination among the members and also among the members of the society. So here, so kindly note down. See, to resolve the conflicts, we need some set of rules. Okay, that is rules is nothing but with that rule, one has to allow for a minimum coordination among the members. That is group. That is a society. So therefore, the constitution allows coordination and so this is the first functions of the constitution. So next one is specification of the decision making power. That is a constitution is the fundamental principle. Just now we have discussed that it is a fundamental principles with the rules according to which a state, here the state defines a country. So kindly remember, okay, the state defines a country, it's constituted or governed. So and also note that it specifies the basic allocation of powers present in the society, and also that powers may be monarchical constitution. What do you mean by monarchical? That is very important. See, the government is ruled by a king or queens, so that is the monarchical constitution. Okay, they are decides. Okay, they are the supreme power and they has the authority to decide. Okay, and then what about the old Soviet Union constitution? See, the one single party was given to the power to decide everything. Okay, whatever happens in the society. What about democratic constitution? The people gets to decide. So that is nothing but the democratic. But so here the lot of question arises. So one has to note that a lot of dispute related to this democratic constitution since the people get to decide. See, the people expresses their preferences by electing the representatives. But note that if the people act through their representatives, how should these representatives be elected and how many should there be? So these are the things the question arises. Let us see. Let us take the Indian constitution as an example. So here I am just taking the parliament, okay, our Indian parliament as an example. So it is specified that in most instances the parliament get to decide the laws and policies, and that the parliament itself be organized in a particular manner. So that is very important. And also note that before identifying what laws in any given society is, you have to identify who has the authority to enact these laws. If the parliament has the authority to enact the laws, there must be a law. So that is this authority on the parliament is the first place. And also note that so this is the functions of the constitution. So it is an authority to constitute the government in the first place. So one has to note that so it is the second functions of the constitution is to specify who has the power to make the decisions in a society and decides how the government will be constituted. So that is very important. See, it is the one of the most important functions of the constitution to decide the laws. Okay, who has the authority to decide the laws and policies? See, I have taken the Indian constitution, that is the parliament, but one has to note that there is the certain limitations, okay, on the powers of the government. Let us see the powers. Okay, what are the limitations? The constitutions limit the powers of the government in many ways. See, note that, see, it is clear that suppose you have to decide who had the authority to make the decision, but one has to note that this authority passed the laws that you were not accepting that. Okay, it prohibit you from practicing your religion, for instance. And also, for example, if you are wearing some clothes, but the government says you should not wear, so such things the government should not do. That is called as the limitations on the powers of the government. And also what color dress you have to wear, so that things, those things one has to decide. What religion one has to follow, what caste one has to so, okay, and what would not be allowed to retain any property. So those things, See, out of that, the government could arbitrarily arrest someone. So those things, if you give and then n number of powers to the government, then the people will suffer. Such that the limitations of the powers of the government, it is also one of the most important functions of the government. Let us see the ways. See, the one is the most common way of the limiting power of the government is to specify a certain fundamental rights, so that of all as possessing as the citizen, and which government cannot curtail, that is, can ever be allowed to violate. So that is very important. Let us see the fundamental rights also in the upcoming classes. So let us see here the exact content and the interpretation of these rights varies from constitution to constitution. And also note that the third function of the constitution, it is to set some limitations on what government can impose on its citizen. This limits the fundamentals in the sense of that the government may not trespass. Okay, that is very important. May never trespass that fundamental principles, that is the fundamentals which was provided to the citizen. See here, the constitution limits the power of the government in many ways. See, one has to know these things also. See, the most constitution will protect a basic cluster of rights. The citizens will be protected from being arrested, okay, for no reasons. See, this is one of the basic limitations upon the powers of the government. Also note that will have the freedom to speech, and also freedom to conscience, and freedom to association, and then right to, that is the right can be limited. And also it is not the what we say sole right, but it has some limitations during the national emergencies, and the constitution specifies the circumstances under these rights may be withdrawn. So these are the things one has to remember: the freedom of speech, the freedom of conscience, the freedom of association, freedom to conduct a trade or business. So these are all very important. A government cannot curtail these powers. I mean, by using the powers, a government should not curtail these freedoms provided to the citizens. Okay, so therefore this is the third function of a constitution. It set to some limits on what a government can impose on its citizen. And also note that limitations are fundamental in the sense that the government may never trespass. So let us move on with the next, aspirations and goals of the society. So that is also very important. See, this is very important. See, the most of the older constitution limited themselves largely to allocating decision making powers and setting some limitations to the government powers. So also note that, but many 20th, that is century constitution, see, let us take the Indian constitution is the example. Okay, see, it provides an enabling framework for the government to do a certain positive thing. What are they? To express the aspiration and goals of the society. The Indian constitution was particularly innovative in this respect. See, the societies with deep inequalities of various kind will not only have the set limits on the power of the government, but they will also enable and empower the government to take some positive measures to overcome such inequalities. Okay, and also note that the India aspires to a society that is free of caste discrimination. See, if this is our society aspiration, the government have to enabled or empowered to take all the necessary steps to achieve that particular goal. See, if you take a South Africa, we had a deep history of radical discrimination. Its new constitution had to enable the government to end this radical, okay, racial discriminations, and also more positivity. That is very important. A constitution may enshrine the aspirants of a society. The formers, that is the framers of the Indian constitution, that is, for example, let us see. See, the each individual in the society should have at least necessary for them to lead a minimum dignity and social self-respect and minimum material well-beings, that is education, etc. The Indian constitution enables the government to take the positive welfare measures by some way, that is legally enforceable also. See, let us see that a few examples. See, in the upcoming classes, we are going to deal about the preamble and fundamental rights, directive principles of state policies. So these are the things that the government to fulfill the certain aspirations of the people. So this is the very important fourth functions of the constitution is to enable the government to fulfill the aspiration of the society and creation of the condition for the just society. So let us move on with the final fundamental identity of a people. So that is also finally, see, even the most important, that is the constitution expresses the fundamental identity of the people. See, which means the people as a collective entity come into being only through basic constitution. So this is by agreeing to basic set of norms and also how one should be governed and who should be governed, and also note that it forms a collective identity, and also note that one has many set of identities that exist prior to a constitution, but by agreeing to certain basic norms and principles, one constitutes one basic political identity. And also note that the constitutional norms are the overarching framework within which one pursues the individual aspirations, goals, and freedoms. And also note that the constitution sets the authoritative constraint upon what one may and may not do. And also it defines the fundamental values that we may not trespass, so that the constitution also gives one a moral identity. That the finally it may be the case that many basic political and moral values are now shared across different constitutional traditions. So these are the important things related to this. See, also note that with this we will come to know what constitution means. See, the constitution is the compact document which contains number of articles about the state and specifies how the state is to be constituted and what norms it should follow. Okay, this is the simple definitions of the constitution. After go through this, let us one has to know what is constitution. It's a simple document by which the government should run. So that is very important. With this, I am concluding this session. Thank you all. We will meet in the next session. Okay.